Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today's episode revisits the harrowing yet heart-lifting journey of James and Diep, a couple who have stood side by side through loss, love, and the unimaginable. What began as a mission of compassion would soon turn into a fight for survival, one that tested the very limits of the human spirit. In the last chapter, James and Diep joined a volunteer team headed to the flood-ravaged highlands of northern Vietnam. They arrived not as executives or elites, but as two people answering a simple call to help. Children clung to them, their eyes hollow with fear. Elders were embraced with reverence. Bags of food and medicine were delivered hand to hand. There was kindness in chaos. For a moment, it felt like the worst was behind them, but fate had another storm in store. Without warning, a violent flash flood tore through the valley like a beast unleashed. Screams vanished beneath the roar of raging waters. Rain slashed down like knives. Panic swept through the villagers and volunteers. James and Diep raced to lead people to higher ground, but the water was faster. Amid the madness, James saw only one thing: Diep. With no time to think, he shoved her toward a jagged rock, a desperate lifeline in a sea of fury. No time for a life jacket. No guarantee he'd survive, but his only instinct was to protect her. Seconds later, the river swallowed them both. The others saw only a glimpse, two figures vanishing beneath the brown surge. For most, that was the end, but miracles often begin where hope fades. Scene transition, from chaos to quiet desperation. The life jacket, small, orange, and worn, was the very one James had insisted Diep wear earlier that day. That single act of love became her only shield against death. Knocked unconscious by the collision with the rock, Diep's body floated downstream, pale, silent, helpless. Yet she didn't sink. She drifted past tangled bamboo and stunned villagers who clung to rooftops. Hours later, as the storm subsided, villagers ventured out in small boats. Amid shattered wood and mud, they spotted a girl lying face up, barely breathing. One woman screamed, "She's alive," someone whispered, hands trembling. They wrapped her in blankets, called her name, and rushed her to the nearest hospital. Though she hadn't woken, her heart still beat, a fragile, precious rhythm refusing to surrender. Parallel scene. James's ordeal in the flood. James, swept away without a life vest, relied not on luck but on resolve. Years of survival training from his time abroad kicked in. He didn't fight the current, he floated. Every second, he repeated a silent vow: I must survive, for Diep. For our son. Then, out of the murk, a fallen tree appeared. A miracle of wood and roots jutting through the water. He clawed his way onto it, bleeding and shivering. Cold rain mingled with silent tears. His fingers dug into bark until they bled, but he would not let go. Not yet. Perched above the waterline, he waited. Not for rescue, but for the strength to move. For news. For her. Rescue. A flicker of hope. Hours later, a rescue boat's engine pierced the silence. James waved weakly, barely visible, barely alive. They pulled him aboard, mud-caked and bloodied. His first words, hoarse and broken. "Have you seen a girl? Orange life vest. Her name's Diep." A pause. Then, comfort. "She was found. Sent to the hospital. She's alive." James stood frozen, tears streaking his dirt-covered face. His heart, which had been numb for hours, suddenly pulsed again. Diep was alive. Hospital reunion, when eyes open. James didn't wait. Still limping, he asked for directions and stumbled into the hospital. The hallway buzzed with antiseptic and urgency. Room 203. He opened the door with trembling hands. There she was. Diep lay motionless, her forehead bandaged, an IV in her arm, a heart monitor beeping softly. But she was there, breathing. James sat beside her, lifted her icy hand, and held it to his cheek. "You're here," he whispered. "You're really here." He never left her side. For days, he told her stories, whispered their son's name, recalled the way she laughed when teasing him. Nurses urged him to rest. He didn't. Then, one morning, just as dawn slipped through the window, Diep's eyelids fluttered. She opened her eyes. "You're alive," she whispered faintly. James broke into tears. "Yes." "And so are you." Doctors were stunned. She had awakened earlier than expected. But James knew, it was love. It was willpower. It was fate. Healing gratitude. Days later, with Diep recovering steadily, James and Diep walked hand in hand to a countryside church. She wore a flowing white dress. They said nothing aloud, but in their hearts, 1,000 thank yous bloomed. They knelt. They prayed. "Thank you," James whispered, "for not taking her from me." Diep clutched her chest. "Let me be worthy of this life." A family reunited. The final piece of the puzzle. Their son. James placed a video call. His mother answered. Tears erupted when she saw her children, safe, whole, together. "Mom, we're okay. Tell him, we're coming home." A family reunited. The final piece of the puzzle. Their son. James placed a video call. His mother answered. Tears erupted when she saw her children, safe, whole, together. Mom, we're okay. Tell him, we're coming home.